Alright, what's going on, guys? It is your boy TKD1, you're back in here on PlayStation Source, and we do have a few things to discuss here involving PS5, right? So this is mainly going to be just a deep dive into a certain rumor and a big post that is going around, and and there's stuff like that. I'm a little bit on the fence about it. I'm more on the edge of I don't really believe it, and I think it might be just a bunch of flub, but I digress. Let's get right into it. Is PS5 in big trouble? Now look, I know that this happens like every cycle with every console war. You know what I'm saying? Like every lead up. I mean, not necessarily like console war, but every lead up onto a new console generation. And there's not a lot of info out there, so this is definitely just gonna ripe to happen. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I will be as middle as I can and as unbiased as I can. And all of this may be true. All this may be what's been going down, but I haven't looked into this person and if he's really credible. I haven't really seen if he's done anything like that or has been really made credible, but I digress. We're gonna read this whole post and we're gonna just talk about it here in this video. So starting off with, again, links will be in the description. I believe I have a link for this, I'm not sure, but I will do my best to find a link down in the description. So we have a guy here named Jeff Rickle. He says here, talk to the devs working on the games. I know several. I also know people developing directly for Sony. I work in the business in another sector. The collective feeling is Sony screwed up this generation. They underestimated Microsoft and were overconfident. Again, expect delay to the PS5 and heating problems to rival the Xbox 360. Sony is really concerned right now. Don't you find it odd that they have yet to really show the hardware despite pressure to do so due to Microsoft? Because the hardware fails at an alarming rate. The system cannot maintain its clocks. The M.2 gets hot quick. More throughput means more power consumption means more heat, but even a PCIe 3.0 M.2 got hot in the setup. The underlying issue is Sony did not realize that the form factor needs to be changed, and now they are concerned about having to completely redesign and have it look more like the Xbox Series X tower because it will look like they have just copied Microsoft. Do you also not think it odd have they not really shown off any launch titles? Reason? The devs have no idea what to optimize for because Sony has no idea what the PS5 will deliver in consistent performance yet, and they do not want to show off captures from dev systems that do not match what a production console would produce. The people I know closer to it have said it's really bad. Sony is just hoping the PlayStation name can help them weather it for 2 years so they can get a redesign. You've been warned. Sony rested on its laurels and took for granted what was going on. They heard rumors of what Microsoft was doing, but did not believe Microsoft could pull it off. Their third parties verified Microsoft achieved all they set out to do and have tested the Xbox Series X. Microsoft was very open about letting them. That is why Sony rushed things to try to get something out. Them seeing that Microsoft is ready to manufacture right now caused some problems. The debate right now is, do they delay by 6 to 12 months to get it right, or do they force it out to keep pace with Microsoft and deal with high fail rate and performance issues? I know for a fact attempts to optimize PlayStation 5 take far more work than for Xbox Series X. The devs say that the Xbox delivers steady power that is always predictable, while the PS5 does not and is not even predictable all the time. This makes optimizing near impossible. It cannot always deliver the power you ask it to, even in short bursts. Now look, to be completely 100% fair, right? I don't know the full intricacies of the PS5 development, obviously, right? I'm just a dude that loves PlayStation, so if it comes out later down the road that, I was wrong about what my assumption is about this whole thing, and, there was issues with PS5 and there are issues with PS5 hardware on like a really, really big, type of rate and stuff like that is very prominent, I will hold the L, right? Like I will calm, cool, and collectively, take my L when we get to that point, right? But from right here, this just seems a little bit like too. It's not lining up from what we've heard from developers. Like there's a lot of developers saying that, oh, like the hardware is wonderful, it's great. We've had plenty of different devs come out, and we have talked about it here on this channel as well. Like we've had a lot of developers say the actual opposite of what's being reported here, you know what I'm saying? And there's a few things that are like question marks to me, and if they are not to you, definitely let me know down in the comment section. Like if you have a different type of way that you feel about this, or something that you interpret in a different way that maybe I might be wrong on that point, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, I forgot to take off my glasses. I'm sorry, I don't really record with my glasses on. My bad. But so the first one here is that the underlying issue is Sony did not realize that the form factor needed to be changed, and now they are concerned about having to completely redesign it. Like, wait, so you're telling me that they were gonna have the PS5 just look just like the PS4 Pro or whatever, or the PS4? Like, no, like, what do you mean they are, going back on them? Like, it's some sort of issue for them to have a different form factor. That's kind of insinuating that they had a similar form factor to the PS4 Pro. I highly doubt that the PS5 was looking like the PS4 Pro, or do they mean that they not ready for it need to be, or are they talking about like the rumored redesign, the rumored design of the PS5 being like that weird V shape that is supposed to be that is meant to be for ventilation for the innards of the PS5 that we've seen in dev kits? Like, maybe that's what they're talking about here, where they said that it needs a redesign not from the PS4 Pro but from the dev kit model, but nonetheless, like, the dev kits are not how the final console is supposed to look. You know what I'm saying? Unless this dude is talking about like a design for the PS5 that's finalized, that they need to redesign that one. Like maybe if that's what he's talking about, then okay, I guess I can't, I guess checkmate me on that, because I don't know, what the PS5 looks like, behind closed doors and stuff like that, and what's the final product gonna look like when it finally gets launched. But I thought that was kind of weird, and like, I don't know. It's just this whole thing just seems a little bit odd to me, just based off like how much info this has. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, he does have a lot of like opinion in this whole post and stuff like that, so he's definitely like elaborating on his own opinion and different things on this whole post. But a lot of the like factual information just seems a little bit, odd to me. And now, while one thing that I do want to point out, is that he does bring up the notion of a delay, right? And with that, I do feel like in this point, it is more than likely we have an outcome where the PS5 does get delayed, right? Due to, of course, the pandemic going on right now. I don't think it'll get delayed because they're having issues, with the hardware, as far as I'm aware, right? It's just like, I just want to point out to everyone that we've had a lot of different developers come out and say their piece on how they feel about the PS5 and how great it's running and stuff like that behind closed doors. Like right here, I make sure to pull up some of the receipts I'm talking about here, and pull up some receipts of what we're talking about when I say a lot of different developers have came out and said the quite opposite. We have a developer here, we talked about this again on the channel a few weeks ago, Breakfall Games developer Jason Sider, like that's his recent era name. He says here, give up GPU power for a faster drive any day. The PS5 drive and framework infrastructure around it is so sound, so fast that I just start dreaming of design with zero drive bottlenecks. Personally, I love it when new hardware can make me dream big, and the new frontiers, all the good stuff. So like, here's him, ranting and raving about the hardware. We have a co-founder from Ready at Dawn said this a few weeks ago. He says, dollar bet within a year from its launch, gamers will fully appreciate that the PS5 is one of the most revolutionary inspired home consoles ever designed, and we will all feel silly for having spent so much energy arguing about teraflops. And we had him also say, I love and play all consoles, and I'm not tweeting about anyone's payroll. I'm excited about the PS5 because I think many smart decisions were made that will enable devs to design in new ways, especially for expansive games. And so here, lastly, I'll point this one out lastly here. This from Jason Schreier, of course, the homie Jason Schreier from Kotaku. He says here, quote, so when I'm hearing from the people who are actually working on these next-gen consoles is that the Xbox Series X is not significantly more powerful than the PS5, despite this teraflops number. Teraflops might be a useful measure of comparison in some ways, but ultimately it's a theoretical max speed. I am getting texts and DMs from developers being like, this is such a shame, the PS5 is so superior in all these other ways that they are not actually able to message right now and can't talk about it right now. I heard from at least 3 different people since the Cerny thing that the PS5 is actually the superior piece of hardware in a lot of different ways, despite what we're seeing in the spec sheets. And so, like, that's what we've been hearing overall. Like the overall consensus from the background is that everything's going great from a developer, from a point of view from a developer and stuff like that, and not, hearing about overheating issues, or we're not hearing about, the PS5 not being able to hold its clock speed and different stuff like that. So that's my main, like, question with this whole thing, is that one of these people are lying. One side is lying. I don't know which one, you know what I'm saying? And that's for you all to definitely sound off down below in the comment section. What do you guys think is going on here? What do you guys think, is right? Which side is right in the PS5 whole debacle? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And look, guys, straight up, honestly, I'm being 100% when I say this, right? If we come to, the few weeks after release of PS5, right? If it comes out this year, right, and they have overheating issues and there's all these complaints and this whole thing was true, I will hold that L gladly, right? I'm completely fine with being wrong, but I do just want to make the point that, we do have conflicting issues here. Like, we have had a lot of, talk in the past about how a lot of devs were saying that, the PS5 was running great, everything's kumbaya, and all of a sudden this, comes out, you know what I'm saying? So I just want, it is just conflicting, right? I'm not saying nobody's necessarily wrong. I'm not saying nobody's right. I'm just saying that there is conflicting reports here. So we got to wait and see until what happens. And I guess the, biggest way that we will, hear when they talk about cooling is actually Mark Cerny on his Road to PS5 breakdown and all that. He did say that there will be a teardown in the coming months. He said, here, quote, "We are saving that for our teardown. I think you'll be quite happy with what the engineering team came up with in terms of cooling." And so he was talking about with that statement the PlayStation 5's cooling system. And so apparently it's something that's worth a whole teardown for and a whole detailing of that standpoint. But I guess we'll have to see when that all comes to fruition. But most importantly, down below, let me know your thoughts about this. Is PS5 having troubles right now in development? Do you think they are? Do you think they're not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And make sure also while you are down there to check out our description where you can find our Twitter, our Discord, as well as an anchor link to our long-form content in podcast format. That, of course, being Road to Part 2 with the Final Fantasy 7 remake, as well as Save Slot Podcast. Make sure to follow those links down below in the description. Like the video if you enjoyed it, as well as stay subscribed to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.